Welcome to the HMG Executive Leadership Spotlight. Here's our host, Hunter Muller.
Hello, and welcome to HMG Strategy's Global Leadership Institute. I'm here with Wael Younan, the CIO and CISO of CalOptima Health. Wael, great to see you today.
You too, Hunter. Thanks for having me.
Hey, congratulations for winning the HMG Strategy Midcap CIO CISO of the Year Award.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be even a part of the strategies and the efforts that are going on and to be recognized. So very excited about it.
You know, we're studying visionary leadership here at HMG Strategy across the world. When you think of your leadership style, Wael, why does visionary leadership matter so much?
So it's a really good question, Hunter. I think what ends up happening in a lot of organizations is they take a look at what they can fix right now or what the problems are and how they can, address them. But what they're not really taking a look at is what other problems can you foresee and get in front of them. So from a visionary leader perspective, as we take a look, one of the things I like to do is talk to people outside of the healthcare vertical to try to figure out what are other industries doing around technology and helping their organizations move forward and better, and then leveraging that and saying, well, why can't I leverage that for healthcare? And so it's really important to keep a keen eye on what's happening out in the industry and talking to other people and really taking a look at exploring and thinking way outside of the box. I don't think in technology there should be a box at all. And then taking a look at that and making decisions on how can we really improve our organizational structure and do things that have never been done. Everything that exists today at one point was never done. And so why don't more people think about it that way and really explore what's possible?
Excellent. Well, I really got caught by your answer there. When you think of the art of the possible, how do you go out there and ideate with yourself and your team to think about the art of the possible?
So it's really interesting. The number one thing that I think all people in any industry really should be doing is networking, right? When you sit down and have conversations, and I mean casual conversations, what are you currently working on? What's going on? How are you doing it? What you'll find is that there's some really brilliant people out there that you can gain benefits from. And sometimes they'll take a look at the work you're doing and saying, hey, that's fascinating. How are you doing this? And I'm always happy to share, but I'm more interested in what the other brilliant people are out there doing and how I can benefit from it. And so we just kind of have conversations relevant to how can you leverage their initiatives in a way that makes sense for you. And sometimes you find out about things that you weren't even thinking or a road you weren't even considering. And then you have to kind of sit back and reflect and say, I think I could leverage that in my organization. Right. And without those conversations and the peer networking and the collaboration and trying to figure out interoperability across multiple sectors, you lose something in translation because you're pigeonholed in a particular silo, and that should never be the case. So good conversations result in great results moving forward.
Any formula or idea about what percentage of your time should be outside of the organization, networking in the world?
I would say probably a minimum of 20%. That 20% is really an investment in time to help the 80% of the time that you are in your organization, and then making it where that 80% of the time is really fruitful. So you have to partition out time to really go out there and speak with others and join conferences and network with your peers, or else you're sitting there consumed in your day-to-day operations without really having a vision for the future. So 20%, I would say, would probably be the bare minimum. And then spend the rest of your time doing the work that you were hired to do.
So we call it visionary leadership or possibility thinking. What do you call it?
I would simply say the art of possible, right? You have to be able to take a look at this and say, how do I create something or really improve on something that's never been done? And from a visionary perspective, you're really looking at the art of possible and trying to define out what's capable that's out there that no one thought of.
Love it. Wow. Great stuff. Moments of truth matter. When you think of courage and leaning in and what you're passionate about most, what were some moments of truth in your career ascent where you had to walk through something with courage and passion and you actually walked through it and you were successful?
So I think I've been fortunate to have a number of scenarios like that. The thing that inspires me the most is when someone says, we don't think we could do that, or we tried it before and it failed, or we've never been able to pull something like that off, right? I mean, nothing gets me more excited than hearing that there was an attempt and it didn't work, because now it's a personal expression of accomplishment to be able to go and get that taken care of. I'll give you an example here at CalOptima. When I first joined, the organization itself was lacking, and healthcare tends to lack a little bit in regards to being a technology innovator. And when I joined in here, I said, first 90 days as CIO, there's an expectation you're going to bring something to the table. And we started taking a look and interviewing the executives that were here and having an understanding of what it is that they were trying to accomplish and what was and wasn't doable. And then I followed that up with a conversation with my team and said, well, what are the hindrances and able to move forward? And some of the things that we were able to do pretty quickly here have already demonstrated some significant value, but it's an understanding of, well, why hasn't this worked, or why didn't we do this a particular way? So one of our visionary statements is to try to provide same-day treatment authorizations so that our members can go and see a doctor with a 24-hour turnaround, that they can go and get the care that they need. When I joined the organization, that could be a several week-long process. So we committed to a 24-hour same-day treatment authorization by 2027. We're only in 2023. Well, this effort started mid-year last year. In about 6 months, we were able to take that down to 16 hours. So the goal was 24. We accomplished 16. The goal was by 2027, and we knocked it out by 2023. Well, why? Let's think outside the box. How do we get those treatment authorizations? What's the roadblock? What's the workflow? What's the issues? And really just asking the right questions, and determining where the breakdowns were provided a significant improvement in 4 years ahead of schedule and 8 hours ahead of the commitment that we made. So you just have to go in there and say, okay, I understand that it didn't work in the past, but why not? And then really drive through that. And that's something you have to have internally that says, I won't take a failure in the past as my failure. How do we make sure that we keep on trending in the right direction and move forward? So that's one example of something where, well, we tried that and it didn't work. And we really got there pretty quick, and probably one of the first in Orange County to be able to do so.
Well, wow, that sounds like genius. It's perhaps one of the biggest barriers for getting the right treatment in a timely fashion is getting onboarded and getting in front of the right professional, right?
Right. But the thing that I think most people try to do, and it's a detriment to us in technology, is you're not resolving this alone. You really have to go and figure out what the barriers are with the business and have them lead the conversations and be your vocal point in regards to how we're going to leverage something with technology to get you there. So that partnership with the business is critically important. And then they become your advocate in helping push through the technology you want to implement. And then you provide them the outcome they were looking for. And they say, yes, we need to do that more often.
How did you build that leadership style, that communication style, and that business credibility at CalOptima? How did you build it? And you seem to be really benefiting for the organization and yourself.
So good question. And I've spoken at conferences about this before. As a CIO talking to the business, I never talk about technology. What I do is I talk about business problems. I talk about business objectives, business vision, what the mission and vision of the organization is, where the issues are. And having those conversations, it's important to understand that you're an executive first and a technologist second. And so as part of the executive team, my efforts are to provide executive support, just so happens to be with technology. And so when I have these conversations with them, it's not a situation where they're nervous or I'm going to talk about some technology they've never heard of or anything like that. We're going to have the conversation about what the issues are, and then we're going to turn around and present what a technology solution might be. And so you're really having business strategy conversations and then tying in technology on the back end. And by doing so, they feel that you're partnering with them as another executive, trying to help to resolve a particular solution. It just so happens in our world, technology is typically that solution. And in some cases, it's really important to say, this isn't a technology issue. This is a business workflow process. Let's work through that together. as executives to figure out where the breakdown is, because technology isn't the problem here, it's the way we're doing it. And that really gets you the buy-in that you need from the executive team.
Thank you. Well, going into technologies, what are the top 1, 2, or 3 technologies that you're most excited about working with and rolling out and receiving and driving business value from?
So the top 3 on my list right now are robotic process automation, customer relationship management, and then taking a look at AI and ML. And I would put it in that order. In my environment today, there's a lot of manual process that exists, and we can automate a lot of those issues away. I think along with any other industry that's out there right now, customer experience is incredibly important. And so my customers are members that are looking for healthcare. And so my focus on really building out that customer relationship program out. And then what can we leverage from an AI and ML perspective that would allow for us to take a look at increased efficiency, predictive analytics, being able to really provide the information to our physician practices and our health networks, et cetera, that take care of our member in a meaningful way. And if we could leverage all those together, we could do it faster with better experience and better outcomes.
Well, please characterize your leadership style and what it's like to build a strong team.
So I would characterize my leadership style really as servant leadership. I'm here to support my team. Anytime I introduce myself, I say I work for them. The aspect I think that's really important is, and I've heard you mention before, trust and inspire versus command and control. I'm here to inspire my organization and my team members to be as effective and as excellent as possible. And I do so by giving them the recognition and the credit for all the good work and taking the hits on any issues that may have happened in the past or under my leadership at all. And so what that does is it builds a culture within the organization where your team is really looking at you and saying, he is really the leader he said he was going to be. And I've seen it because we're getting more exposure now than we ever have. And any of the issues, he just kind of umbrella shields us from them and still addresses them. So I've always had an open door policy. It doesn't matter what level you are, you can come and have a conversation with me. I will address the issue generically to the larger audience within the team. And that really allows for people to know that their voices are being heard. And I found that over time, what ends up happening is people really believe who you are because you remain true to who you said you would be. And so I'm here for the team and whatever they need. Their success is my success and their failures are my failures. And we work together and we win or lose as a team.
Wow, great insights, sage advice. And it's clear to me that you're a really, truly an amazing leader. Congratulations on being 2023 HMG Strategy Global Leadership Mid-Cap CIO of the Year.
Thank you so much, Hunter.